guys, and welcome to Samantha's Kitchen. It's Sunday today and I'm going to make something quick and easy for everyone. I'm going to do toad in the hole with mashed potatoes and vegetables, but most importantly I will be doing the best onion gravy that you will ever had. Well, in my opinion, everybody's gravies are, very unique to themselves, but this was handed down to me from my nan, and I'm going to share the recipe with you now. So first things first, I'm going to make a vegan toad in the hole, but you can make toad in the hole non-vegan, and you will need for that, if you wanted to get a cup and use this cup, same size for everything. Now typically traditional Yorkshire puddings use plain flour, but I use self-raising. And my nan used self-raising, so that's what I'm going to tell you how to make the non-vegan ones with. So the non-vegan, cup of self-raising, a cup of eggs, that means that the eggs are broken, and a cup that is 3/4 milk and 1/4 water, half a teaspoon of salt and a sprinkling of black pepper. That is for the non-vegan one, and you have to get your oven really hot for that, 200 degrees, and the oil needs to be hot, so the process will follow the same as a non-vegan one as you would cooking them wise. But today I am going to do the vegan one, and for this you will need 225 grams of self-raising flour, and to this I've already measured it out, but you will add 300 milliliters of water. You then need to add some bicarbonate soda, because vegan Yorkshire puddings don't have any rising agents, which is your egg. We have to get as much rising agent as we possibly can in, so we will use a teaspoon. That was just under a teaspoon, just running out. A teaspoon of that, and then we will need some egg replacer. Now I use this egg replacer, it's really good, and it says on the back what you actually need to make an egg or an egg white. So for this I'm going to add 2 teaspoons, and that will be the equivalent of 2 eggs. Okay, I've just added that now, and then we are going to add some apple cider vinegar. We're going to add a teaspoon of this. I don't know exactly what it does. I mean, typically you'd think because of the bicarb and this, which is an acid, it would create like a buffer solution. So I don't know what it does, but it seems to work on this recipe that I've created and also stolen from other places. So what we do now is we whisk this all together, and you need to whisk it really well, because we don't have any eggs or anything like that in here. We've got to make sure we get enough air in as possible. Now the key to a good Yorkshire pudding is not to have your batter too thick or too thin. It has to be, as Goldilocks would say, just right. And my nan would always say it would just come off of the whisk, and it's just coming off the whisk there. So I'm going to give this a really, really good mix for another 5 minutes, and then, big important thing, put it in the fridge. I've been whisking for about 5 minutes now, and as you can see that there's loads of air bubbles in there. Very, very smooth, no lumps, nothing in there. Now pop that in the fridge. I would typically do this and pop it in the fridge for an hour before I need it. Okay, I am about to do the onion gravy that my nan or grandma used to make. And you need 1 big large white onion, and then I'm adding about 1.5 tablespoons of oil. Now the key to this is to let your onions go nice and translucent, turn that golden brown around the edges, and then we will thicken it with flour and also our stock and any vegetable stock that we have to really make it flavourful. So I'll come back to you once we're in a position and I can show you what the onions should look like. Okay, the onions are now ready. As you can see, they're translucent, and if we have a look at them, you will be able to see that they have just started to brown around the edges. This is what you want to make the onion gravy taste absolutely delicious. All that onion flavour is all reduced down within the oil, and it's time now to add the flour and stock. So when I wasn't vegan, my nan used to make them with a traditional beef flavoured oxo, but check out this. They do meat-free oxo beef flavours. This is the first ever time I'm trying these, so I'm hoping it's going to create just how my nan used to make them. If you don't like beef flavour though, or anything like that, what you can do is use a vegetable stock pot, something along like these lines, and then add some browning, which will give you the colour of gravy. Key to a good gravy is to keep mixing the flour. So I am going to add a heaped 1.5 tablespoons of flour, and then I'm going to mix this in really well, making sure that all the onions are coated properly. And it'll start to look a little bit like this, whereby all your onions are coated within the flour. Now the trick here is to use our stock. So I have 4 oxo cubes and 1 vegetable stock. I'm making quite a big amount of gravy, and we're just going to add it a little bit at a time, and you keep stirring and keep stirring and keep stirring, and what happens is you can see it starts to get thicker and thicker and thicker. You think it's a mess, it's not going to work, this is awful, but trust me on this, it will work and it will be delightful. So you keep going like this until this gravy starts to go into a paste, and then the liquid then starts to form a really thick, beautiful gravy. So I'm using a big cup. It's like a cup and a half. It's a mug type for this. Make sure also that your heat isn't on high. If it bubbles too much, it'll just go really, really thick and really, really lumpy and not nice. So as I say, it takes a while for it to start to look like gravy, but trust me, it will look like gravy when we're done. If you don't want to use flour to thicken, you can actually use your vegetables. So if you were to get 1/4 cup of your swede, your carrot, and whiz that all together, it actually makes quite a thick consistency, and then you can use that to thicken. Or you can also use corn flour if you don't want to use actual flour. As you can see now, we're just starting to get a bit of a sauce going on. Keep going. Make sure that it's stirred in all the time. The key is to do this slowly. If you put it in all one big go, what will happen is you'll just get lumps everywhere and it just will not be nice at all. Just keep stirring that. And typically this would be how you'd make any kind of sauce base. You use essentially oil or butter and mix with flour And then you add your cheese or whatever you wanted to make, if you were making cheese sauce or something along those lines. So, depending upon how thick you like your gravy, you can add more or less water. I'll be probably adding another quarter of a cup to half of a cup of water. So that is essentially your gravy so far. Now, a big key thing for me, and it always has been a big key thing, is to add pepper. My nan used to love to add loads of pepper for me. It doesn't actually need any salt because the oxos, they have quite a salty taste to them, so you actually don't need to add anything additional like that. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. I know, of white pepper. I know it sounds a lot, but I do like it peppery. Some people don't, that's fine, don't add it if you don't want, and then we'll come back to it. I would typically give this cooking maybe another 30 minutes, adding water as you go, just to really infuse those onions and make it absolutely delightful. So for any traditional toad in the hole, we will need some sausages, and I just want to say these are vegan sausages and Richmond meat-free sausages. These here are the best in the world, and they are really good for those people who are wanting not to have the full fat content of normal sausages. There is only 115 calories per 2 sausages cooked. So what we need to do with these sausages is we just need to get them brown all around. You don't need to cook them through because they actually go into the Yorkshire pudding and cook in the oven, but we just need to make sure that we seal those sausages. So I'll come back when that colour is just right, so you know what you're looking for. These are done now, and what you need to do is put these on a plate and leave them to cool down. Okay, I have just put some oil in the Yorkshire pudding tray, just enough to cover, and I have moved the oil all around so all the edges of the tin gets the oil. I'm also making more of a traditional toad in the hole, which requires a bigger bread tin. You can also use a cake tin for this. Now, I heat the oil quite significantly, so I'm putting them in on 200, and I'm going to heat the oil. Keep an eye on the oil. When it starts to like bubble and smoke a very tiny bit, you can then add your batter. So as you can see, the batter, it's been in the fridge about 45 minutes now, and it's got really quite thick. What you'll need to do is you'll need to add a little bit of water. This also happens the same if you were making non-vegan Yorkshire puddings. So I've got about a quarter of a cup, which I'm going to add and then just mix in, and that will just loosen up all the batter in preparation for it to go in with the sausages. Give it a really good stir again, making sure that we've got all that air in there in preparation to go in. Okay, we're about to get our tins out of the oven. They're very hot. I'm going to make some little ones first, and then followed by some bigger ones. So I use a ladle, and I'm just going to ladle them in like so. I tend to fill them about 3/4 of the way. And we are going to add our little sausages in here as a little bit of a surprise. As you can see. And then we will add the rest of the Yorkshire puddings. These can be frozen, You don't have to worry about anything like that. I'm a bit messy, I apologise. And we'll just add another one, a bit more in here. So we need enough for the other, more traditional one. So this is the bigger pan, and let's add our filling in here now. And then we can add our sausages like so, and then let's get that in. Okay, so we're going to cook them for around 25 minutes. Keep an eye on them. When you see it, when you see them rising, they're starting to go golden brown, you know that they're nearly done. Hey, vegan Yorkshire puddings. They don't rise anywhere the same, but they're brilliant. Vegans out there, and check out that. Look at the sausages. Amazing. Let's open one of the small ones up and see what it's like inside. So let's get a bit of our mashed potato. Now I have put a little bit of carrot in with my mashed potato, just to make it delightful and yummy. And we'll get one of our lovely Yorkshire puddings. And we can top that off with some of the nice onion gravy. And then let's open it up and see what it's like. So we can open it. Beautiful. And there is a sausage in there as well. Delicious. Enjoy.